getting gassed out there in that third quarter and going into the fourth, and we got to come up with those plays for our team. On the flip side of that, if you haven't touched the ball or done anything in a chunk of the game or at all game long, it's hard to make that play when the spotlight hits you, and the spotlight always finds you. That's the thing about football. So that's why it's so important to stay getting everybody involved in the early parts of the game and throughout the game. And if you wait till that big moment in the fourth quarter to make a play, it's hard sometimes. And I know that's not an excuse, but it's just the reality of being a player.
The final score again, Ticats on the wrong end of this one. Again, 19-6. The final. They come out. They score 6 points. They get outscored 19-0 the rest of the way. We are going to be joined by head coach Orlando Steinauer in just a little bit. And I think you lost Malden. You lost Dylan Wynn. You lost Stribling. I mean, we talked before the game about how next man up mentality was going to mean something, but when you already went into this game without a Carriel Brooks, without a Chris Frey, without a Tunde Adeleke, without a Teddy Laurent, I mean, injuries were a factor going into this game, and injuries seemed to be a factor during the game as well.
Yeah, Stribling was having a great game. He was showing up on a lot of plays all over the field, and so it was really sad to see him down. Malden and Wynn up front, they were containing the run. I don't think Winnipeg had any yards in the first half, and then they just exploded in the second half. So it's challenging for a team to see these guys go down, challenging for the individuals themselves. However, there's always a silver lining with injuries. It does allow other guys early in the season to get that experience, and in the long run, you'll gain better depth throughout your team, throughout your roster that way. So hopefully nothing serious, and these guys can make a swift return. And in the meantime, we'll get a few other guys out there to take a look at and get some experience and improve our competition.
He's Andy Fantuz. I'm Louie B. This is the Tiger Cats post-game exclusive for the full hour here at ticats.ca and the Ticats All Access app. And take us into the locker room after a loss. These guys are competitors. These guys hate losing at cards. So, you lose a football game, you lose a game that, again, people on the outside were saying that you probably were going to win, right? And Coach put it pretty well that they haven't played anything going into this. But take us into the locker room. What's the mood like? Who's talking? How do you get guys back? Or is it too soon after a loss to really try and build people up?
Oh, boy, it's a tough one. With such a disappointing showing, pretty much being stale after the first couple drives there, it's tough to pick everyone up. So you got to lean on your leaders to, it's not like a speech is going to fix it, but at the same time, to pick the guys up who are feeling like they let the team down and just concentrate on learning from this experience, but looking forward. You don't want to think about it for too long.
We have Andy Fantuz here, of course, and we have our favorite new segment, which is Ask Andy Anything. You can head on over to our Twitter account, shoot us a message, include the hashtag AAA, and we'll answer your questions throughout this post game. Streaming live only at ticats.ca and the Ticats All Access app. Let's get to one here. The O-line looks shaky without Filer and Van Zyl. Masoli wasn't his best. I think it's pretty safe. Was this week one jitters or a cause for concern? And this one comes from McCulloch here, 91X. Week one jitters, cause for concern.
Well, you're going against the class of the league as far as last year is concerned in the defensive line. So you're up for a big challenge right off the get-go. Without a lot of experience, without your top guy from 2019, Chris Van Zyl, most outstanding lineman winner, it certainly brings a big challenge. I think that they certainly are going to be able to improve on that, and they got to find ways to help them also. Early on in the game, they were doing some delayed running and some run-pass options that were having some success. We're getting chunks of 5 to 7 yards, but we didn't really continue that, and we weren't able to, and it's tough when you're in 2nd and 10. So I don't think it's a cause for concern at this point. It'd be nice to when Chris gets back, but these guys are going to get experience and they're going to get better. And to go against the best, that's how you grow the most. So
Luke kind of mentioned it. I mean, how much this isn't going to be a fun film session on Monday, is it? I mean, this does, especially you look at certain spots on the field. There were a lot of flags on special teams. I want to get to that in a second, but this doesn't seem like Monday. There's going to be a lot of positives to go around, but what's that like going into the meeting room after a loss like this?
Coach O's there.
Actually, we're gonna get the answer to that question, but I do want to get the head coach of the Ticats on with us now, Orlando Steinauer. And Coach O, a tough loss. Just take us through what you saw there in the second half when Olivier really took off there.
We just didn't get it done. We didn't tackle well enough. We played sloppy, and that's what the scoreboard reflected. There's no step by step. This started in the first half.
Coach, Andy Fantuz here. It seemed like a kind of a full team effort that led to that big rushing attack in the second half. A mix between bad field position with the penalties on special teams and the lack of any production and any first downs on offense, so that the defense wasn't getting any rest, and they were taking advantage of that. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just well said. Like we didn't play any complimentary football. A couple times we had him backed up, and we got him to punt, and we couldn't get off the field on second down. We were just out there too long, and that's self-inflicted. We didn't move the sticks, and we took penalties and special teams. I mean, you're not gonna win any football games that way. That's plain and simple. So.
Coach, obviously you missed preseason games. You mentioned that throughout the training camp and leading up to this game, but did you really feel it out there, the lack of preseason games this season?
No, we lost today. They didn't play any preseason games either.
Yeah,
Coach. Any thoughts on the offensive line? I know they only had, I think, the one sack, but they were putting quite a bit of pressure on Mazzoli, and we weren't seeming to be able to get in any rhythm with drop back passes. Most of our success came with mini rollouts or extending the play a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's fair. We didn't string enough of them together consistently. That's the bottom line, and it flat out wasn't good enough. And you don't know until you guys will have a better vantage point of it than I would as far as the tape. I've seen a little bit on the iPads, but at the end of the day, we didn't make enough plays to win, and we just played sloppy football. It's not a good day for the Tiger Cats. It's not fun.
Coach, thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the head coach of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Orlando Steinauer, and he's not making any excuses. He's not throwing anybody under the bus. They just didn't play good enough. They didn't play well enough as a whole team, and really, from your coach, I mean, it's not what you want to hear, but I don't think we expect anything less from Coach.
No, he's not gonna sprinkle any sauce on his cancer there. He's just gonna tell it like it is, and he's absolutely right. It's not the way they play. You could see some glimpses of it, as short as they were, of brilliance, but overall they need a much better effort moving forward.
Yeah, and again, I mean, the injuries do speak for themselves. Lorenzo Malden in the fourth, I mean, he was out there making big plays early on. Stribling was all over the field. RJ had mentioned it. He had looked like he was due for an interception just because he was everywhere, and then you lose him, and then, I mean, you're already down. Teddy Laurent, not available for you in this one, and then to lose Dylan Wynn, not just his physical presence, but his vocal presence, his leadership out there, and now you're looking at an offensive line that looks the defensive line up front that looks nothing like the team we saw go to the Grey Cup. Speaking of the Grey Cup, this game felt oddly similar to what we saw in the Grey Cup, and it just seems like Mike O'Shea, he can. I don't want to say he outcoached Coach O, but I feel like he outcoached him maybe tonight, because there were some moments where it just felt like it felt very similar to the Grey Cup, and I don't know. I was just getting some flashbacks from the last time these two teams played.
Yeah, in the sense that the Winnipeg defense really smothered Hamilton, it was very similar. They didn't quite have all the big plays either side of the ball as they did in the Grey Cup, but they didn't need to either. So yeah, it was. I think Coach O a few days ago said it best when he said, like, what expectations? We haven't done anything yet, and this is a good wake up call for these guys. Like, who it doesn't matter what the world thinks or what the city of Hamilton thinks or what the guys, like, every team thinks they can win. So they just went out and got punched in the mouth, and now they got to respond.
And as a professional football player who's been punched in the mouth, I mean, how do you respond? Tomorrow's a new day. You're gonna fly home from Winnipeg tonight. You're gonna be tired. You're gonna be cranky. You get tomorrow off to think about everything that's happened. You don't play again until Saturday, so you almost have to sit on this loss. Is this one of those games where you wish you were right back out there? You wish you were, or was this one of those games where, all right, let's take a step back, let's breathe. Like, where would you be if you were coming off the plane here tonight?
Well, if I know this organization, I think you always want to learn. You always want to learn from any game, and sometimes you learn more from defeat. So if I was the coach, I'd maybe get one day off, and then you come in, you break down the film, you focus some time on it, and then you move on right from there. And even if they have a few more days before day one practice for the following game, you're going to get a run, like a practice run in. Or a mini practice in. And that's not going to be thinking at all about Winnipeg. That's going to be thinking about the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You're going to watch their game on film, and then you're going to start the game plan and get your legs under and have some fun together and get that camaraderie back in and just start looking forward.
But it is going to be a quiet locker room tonight, I believe, right?
I think so, yeah. I think it'll be very quiet and a somber ride home, unfortunately. Yeah, it's tough.
All right, we're very pleased to be joined now by Ticats safety Mike Daly. And Mike, just obviously not the way you saw the night going, but just take us through, I guess, particularly the second half when Oliveira seemed to take off there. What happened there in the second half?
Yeah, definitely not our night, and Tuesday's right. It'll be a little bit of a somber ride home, right? We didn't really expect this. We just have to clean some stuff up. I mean, they played a pretty good game, and we just have to focus a little bit more and make sure that we're all doing our job a little bit better. And then at least we can limit the run that way. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, Mike, I know you were a special teams guru for many years. It seemed like in this game we couldn't really catch a break there. We were getting penalties, and take us through that a bit, and let me know what you thought about that.
Yeah, that's kind of the worst thing that can happen in special teams, right? Is taking some penalties, because I mean, for such a big field position change to have any sort of return completely negated and go backwards from where we had it, like, we're talking huge position field change. So to have penalties in any sort of the kicking game is, rule number one is don't take penalties. So we'll clean it up. It's game one. So we obviously have to focus on it a little bit more. But if we keep doing that with the penalties, then yeah, we're going to be in for some tough nights on special teams. I
know you guys missed Carriel Brooks out there, and then before he went down, Stribling was all over the field. Obviously, guy playing in his first CFL game, probably wasn't expected to line up if Brooks is healthy. Just what did you see from him before he went down? Obviously, that kind of encourages you about this secondary here.
Yeah, Stribling, he's been awesome. He's been awesome all week. You can tell, even all camp before this, you could tell he came in, he knew what he was doing. The Canadian game really didn't surprise him much. Maybe the speed of the game. I mean, he picked up really quick. Like you said, he was all over the field. He was making plays all over the place. But yeah, it was too bad he got a little bit banged up, but he'll be all right. And just seeing him fly around, and especially some of the new guys, right, all over the place, seeing them fly around, make some plays, it builds their confidence and ultimately the team's confidence, right?
Yeah, Mike, what did it feel like to be back out there? You can't replicate game action. And obviously it's not the result you wanted, but to be back out there, to actually get to hit the other team, again, the emotions of the result aside, but just being back out there and playing football, what did that mean to you?
Oh, Louie, I can't even put it into words for you. I mean, it was, you get nervous before the game because you haven't done it in a year and a half, right? And once you get out there, I mean, you can ask anybody, you could interview anyone on the team. It was like, once it first started, you're kind of like a kid in a candy store. You're just excited to be back, not hitting each other in training camp anymore. But now the reality sets in, and we got a lot to clean up. We all had fun running around hitting other teams, but we got a lot to clean up because, like both of you know, it's a lot more of a fun journey when there's some W's on the board and less L's. So that's what we're trying to get.
Mike, a lot of expectations around the Ticats this season, and going into Winnipeg, seeing the banner coming down in the Grey Cup on the field, and then getting, for lack of better words, punched in the mouth there. Is that a little bit of a wake-up call for you guys, and you got some work to do, and you need a lot of improvement to get to where you want to go and be hoisting that thing in our own backyard in December?
Yeah, I think in terms of the expectations part of it, I think, and Jews, well enough too, is that we don't really look at that. That's kind of a outside noise thing. That's, internally we're just trying to get better ourselves, one step better every day kind of thing. So the projections on the season, I mean, that's just, people have to do their job and that's about it. That means nothing until the kickoff, right? But you're absolutely right with, we have to clean up a lot of stuff to be, and watching for the Grey Cup at home. We got a lot of stuff to clean up, but I mean, it all starts with this week in practice. So, like I said, we got to get one step better. And after today, look at things critically and try to figure out how to come out on top next week.
Well said.
Mike,
Thank you.
Appreciate the time here tonight. Tough loss, but we'll see you back here in Hamilton.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Good talking to you. Mike
Daly, Ticat safety. He admits it. It's a punch in the mouth. It's a wake-up call. We talk so much about the word expectations, and what we've heard from Mike, we've heard from every player all training camp, all week long, is that expectations don't mean anything. Coach O put it well. He said we didn't do anything, and especially now. I mean, I don't want to be the first person to ask Coach on Monday or Tuesday about anything about expectations, because we really don't know what to expect. And I think, first of all, that's what makes this job, and that's what makes professional football and sports so awesome. It's because you don't know what's going to happen. But I don't think anyone expected this.
Well, it's a totally different world inside and inside the locker room and outside of it, and especially with this layoff and all this build-up for the season. Of course, from where we're sitting in this chair, expectations going to be floating around everywhere, and our listeners at home are I'm sure in the same boat. But Mike's absolutely right, and it's very well said. As a player, and you got to block that stuff out, and you're just getting better one day, 1 week at a time. And trying to execute, clean up your mistakes, and just keep getting better. It's a long season, and it's not who won August 5th that matters. It's who wins coming into November and then into December, right?
Yeah, well said. The Ticats on the wrong end of a 19-6 score in Winnipeg. They dropped to 0-1 on the season. Breaking down some of the stats here, final stats, total yards on offense, 366 for Winnipeg, 297 for Hamilton. So it's not like either team offensively really exploded. It was the time of possession that really ended up being the difference maker. It was a difference of less than a minute at the half. The final number on possession, 33 minutes and 6 seconds for Winnipeg, 26 minutes and 54 seconds for the Ticats. So almost a 7-minute advantage in the play clock there for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And you mentioned it with Coach O. You mentioned it with Mike there. Field position on special teams just really, really hurt them.
Yeah, that's a killer, and Winnipeg was able to run the ball because they weren't getting off the field, right? Hamilton couldn't get a first down, so their Winnipeg's defense was fresh. They were flying around and stopping us, and then giving it back to Winnipeg. Our defense is getting tired, or Hamilton's defense is getting tired, excuse me, and they were able to just to milk the clock. And so what's that, like 18-12 in the second half as far as time of possession? That's a huge difference. It's 50% more time of possession. So, unfortunately, those are critical numbers. And then, of course, there's one more gaping one I'm sure you're going to bring up in a second here.
Oh yeah, I'm sure am because again, penalties really hurt the Ticats in this one as well. 6 penalties for 70 yards, but the ones that did hurt them were on special teams. 4 penalties for a total of 50 yards on special teams. Again, it comes down to field position. Mike mentioned it. You mentioned it. It's just not what we were looking for. A number that I guess we should get to is the rushing number, which was which before we get there, you would mention that Sean Thomas Erlington, you would like the way that Sean Thomas Erlington had started the game, but really when you go down, it's tough to go back to the run when you're chasing the score.
It is. The flow of the game kind of dictated that. Unfortunately, we weren't too far off from having a much more successful offensive attack and result. Mazzoli missed a couple short throws just over top of a guys on some screens and some swing plays, and those are killers because then you're 2nd and 10. And you're not able to run the ball. That's not an option in the playbook. You got a couple receivers dropping some contested catches, but makeable catches, and again, those are drive killers. So it's got to put it together. You got to play complementary football, like Coach O said. And unfortunately today, they just couldn't pack it together after that first drive.
I want to revisit your 3 keys to victory in just a second here, but I do want to break down how we got to that score. There weren't a lot of highlights in that game, maybe quite a few lowlights, but let's break down some of the highlights. And it started with the Ticats getting on the board early with a big score.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought you were playing.
Yeah, I thought I was going to play too, but that's okay. We're figuring it out. It's brand new here. I know. That's my fault. But it wasn't. Yeah, it was because Jalen Acklin really had such a great first half. He made such a nice play. He extended it, and let's hear the sound of that first touchdown for the Ticats.
5-yard gain. Brandon Banks, most outstanding player in 2019. Mazzoli going deep again, and it's caught. Jalen Acklin got behind the defender, and what a first drive for the Tiger Cats. It's a touchdown. Jalen Acklin hauls in the big throw from Jeremiah Mazzoli. Dream start, Tiger Cats.
That is perfect.
Oh, it was perfect, Luke Tasker and RJ Broadhead. And it's almost painful listening to the highlight now because it was such a dream start for the Ticats. But it was all Bombers the rest of the way, and it was all Kenny Lawler Jr. who got the next score here.
Yeah, we'll start with that first drive. Very impressive. They had a 6-play drive, two runs by Thomas Erlington. Ernger got in there. Speedy B got 2 catches, and Acklin got that big final one. A couple big ones. The one to Speedy B, Mazzoli, great job of buying a little bit of time, rolling to his left, throwing kind of cross body on the sail corner route there, and Speedy B just excellent awareness, making a outstretched arms catch right on the sideline, getting his feet in, not getting touched at all, and then right after that they go right back with the big play. They go mass protection, only 3 receivers running downfield, and I love how Acklin he kept the defensive back in the funnel, which by that I mean like he's running right at him. He's not trying to go around him. He's giving himself a 2-way go, and Mazzoli saw him. He's sitting flat-footed. He says, okay, he's going to run by him. I'm going to give him a chance. He threw it up, and Acklin was able to get by, and the DB got his hand on it, but he made a great concentration catch right in the end zone, and what a fantastic start.
On that play, was Acklin the first look? Was that how it goes? Was that like, because the way you described the route, like because it was just a straight on. he was going to beat him one-on-one. Was that the first look, do you think, for Masoli, or do you think that was maybe second or third?
No, I think he was going to go there. He was holding the safety in the middle, but based on how the coverage developed is where he's going to take that read, because he's got 3 deeper routes going on with that mass protection. So he's definitely looking downfield, and if he's seeing that in the left corner of his eye, he's seeing that corner flat-footed, he's just going to hold the safety and then flip his hips and throw it up.
It's the Ticats post game. And we have our option to ask Andy anything. Hit us up on Twitter. A couple of you already have. And we'll get to one here. This is from Claudio Raposo. He says, with expectations so high, how can the guys manage their emotion in game? Also good to see you back, Andy.
Thanks, Claudio. It's your nerves are going to be going with this, even more so with this layoff. And then you get into that stadium, you got the bright lights on, you got the fans in the stands, the Grey Cup banner. You're probably gonna be more gas in that first quarter than you are as you go throughout the game. But once you kind of get into it a bit and you take that hit, you get that first football experience, then it's my thoughts are most of the athletes are going to be business as usual. They're going to be dialed into the game, and they're going to block out everything else. So I think it's once you get into the game, it's like any other game.
Yeah, and a couple of different people are kind of chiming in here on the Ask Andy Anything, because we heard throughout camp that we have 2 starting quarterbacks. Are you surprised we didn't see Dane Evans even in a package? We didn't see him at all. Does that surprise you that they didn't find a way to use him in the game?
Not really. It doesn't surprise me. The coach made a decision to go with Mazzoli, and he wasn't playing super impressive by any means, but he didn't really show anything that would necessarily take him out. And the way the flow of the game was going, you don't want to put a guy in there and then create a controversy. You don't want to create something that's not there. You want to put someone in with a chance to succeed. And I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if he did come in, I guess. But in a game like this, and Mazzoli coming back after injury, you want to stand behind your decision. And not stand behind your decision, because it's not about what the coach, his ego or what he wants it, but you want to stand behind your player and show that support and give him the confidence to come back. I think we were looking at it earlier. I mean, Mazzoli's got like 8 fourth quarter comebacks, so he's definitely a guy that can get the job done in those situations. And we just, the way the flow of the game was going. It's hard to put it on him, put all the blame on him.
And I was just about to say that. I mean, if you watch this game again, and I know I will, and I'll probably watch it again and then one more time, I just couldn't, in good conscience, put this loss on Jeremiah Masoli. Like at no point was I thinking, would Dane have given a different look? Yeah, possibly. But did Jeremiah Masoli cost this team the game? I think it'd be silly to say yes, because that's not what cost them. Poor special teams cost them. Injury to Dylan Wynn and really exposing the middle of the defense in that second half from Brady Oliveira. I mean, that cost him. What Jeremiah Masoli did, he didn't drop the pass, right in the breadbasket of Ungerer. He didn't drop the pass right in the breadbasket of Marcus Tucker. I mean, I can see I can hear the frustration of Ticats fans through. And I'm not trying to be an apologist for Masoli, because I like both quarterbacks equally. I don't have a favorite one way or the other, and I'm not trying to be an apologist. But I think if you're sitting here blaming this loss on Masoli, you probably already have an agenda, because this wasn't a game that Masoli cost them in any sense. Am I wrong in saying that?
I agree with you. I think that we're going to have to look at the game from the bird's eye point of view to really see if there were reads that were missed. It's hard to see that from our vantage point there, but Well, when we do that, we'll have a little better idea of how he was seeing the game, but he'll be the first one to tell you that he certainly has some room for improvement. I saw a few things that I noticed that aren't Mazzola, aren't the Jeremiah Mazzoli I know. He was throwing off his back foot a bit. Granted, he was getting a lot of pressure. He wasn't getting taken down, but he was forced to scramble and leave the pocket. But a few of those throws off the back foot, 2 of the interceptions, and then a couple of those missed short ones over top of his receiver, those aren't characteristic of him. So those ones he's going to definitely want to clean up. But like you said, it's hard to put it on one guy in a game like this. It was just it was all around.
Yeah, and again, I'm gonna say that injuries. Decimated the Ticats going into this game, and again, we're hoping for the best. We're hoping to get an update on Dylan Wynn, on Malden the fourth, and Stribling. I mean, those are key injuries, especially when you're already down Cariel Brooks. We'll get an update on that as soon as we can. This is Tiger Cats postgame, streaming ticats.ca, Ticats All Access app. We got one here, Mark Fulton. This is Ticats Louie B, long-time listener, first-time caller. Thank you. What was the game menu? It was subs. They were good. So it wasn't pizza. Wasn't wings. It was subs. Are Andy's hands really XXXL? Yes, you were telling me that. It's your party trick. That's what it's my party trick is my different radio voices, but your party trick. So I can confirm that yes.
It's a little freaky actually. It's
How do you buy gloves? Do you buy gloves or do you have gloves custom made for you?
I had to get gloves custom made. I had a cutters deal for the first part of my career, and they were 4X cutters. But then the gloves started to being made with a little more stretch. It's really my thumb that spreads that far from my index finger. That's pretty wild. So anything less than the 4X, I couldn't open my hand fully. So then I got some 3Xs, and I could make a slit in the web of my thumb to index. But now the gloves are made a little better, so I can go down to 3X
for your flag football career that's taken off, eh?
Yeah. So I'm down to 3X.
Okay, all right. So I can say yes, Andy's hands. So that's what we're saying. We're saying ask Andy anything. We really mean ask Andy anything here.
Anything
on Tiger Cats post game. Let's revisit your 3 keys to victory, because if they had listened to you, if the pregame show was on in the locker room and they had followed your 3 keys to the victory, I think we'd be talking about a victory right now. But let's revisit them. Let's start with number 1. What did you have down there?
Get into an offensive rhythm early, and I'll give them a check mark on that. I mean, they spread the ball around, 4 different players touching the ball in the first drive, leading to a touchdown. Another receiver got involved in the second drive. They just didn't keep it up. So I'll give them the check mark. Unfortunately, it didn't last for the whole quarter, but things were looking promising at the start, and the defense that had no pressure on the quarterback, the offensive line had some confidence, and we were able to get some yardage on the ground, and that's just the kind of tempo you want to start the game with.
So I'm going to blame it on you because you didn't say get everybody involved early and then more afterwards. So they did listen to you, but I'm blaming that one on you because you wanted them to get early and then keep going.
You're right.
So add that for next time for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, first time. I'll improve.
Other than that, you're doing pretty well for your first time. Number 2, what did you have down for your keys to victory?
Sure tackling. And yeah, this one's going to get a fail for me. They started positive. Even little Speedy B had a big tackle on Jefferson there after that pick. It was hard to believe that 140 soaking wet could pull down that
that guy,
physical specimen. But yeah, near the end of the first half, they missed a couple arm tackles that led to big plays that extended the drive and then eventually went to that touchdown. And then it just continued in the second half. And you don't want to make excuses for the defense, but the offense has got to give them some help and give them a little bit of a break by getting a few first downs.
Yeah, and really there were times where you could see physically, I mean, just how much the defense was struggling. And again, it's a combination of all those things of, okay, it's your first game action in in 18 months. You thought you were in shape. You thought you were ready to go, but that was playing against your own team. You go out there, you're playing against guys who want to hurt you, guys who want to take you down. It's a lot different. Practice to games to practices, there really is no comparison.
Yeah, it's a whole different animal. You're not getting any live reps before today in what did we say, 620 days or something. So it's a whole different animal. I mean, you're gonna practice hard and practice at full speed, but when it comes to tackling and breaking tackling, you're using body leverage that you're not getting simulation for in any way during your training. So trying to get away from another professional athlete or bring down another professional athlete, you're using full body strength and it's exhausting. Key
to victory number 3.
Win the turnover battle. So that's clearly a big fail. So 0-3, right? I think 3.
Yep. 2 interceptions and a fumble.
Yeah, fumble and 2 interceptions. Even though they didn't necessarily result in a lot of points, they're huge momentum swingers and just drive killers and there's so much that goes into that is unmeasurable on the stat sheet. So that's a big one. They got to find a way to create a turnover. That would have went a long way to switch the momentum and kickstart things. How often do you see a fumble or interception for the Ticats lead to a touchdown on like the very next play? You go for the jugular right away, and oftentimes it works out. And those are just huge momentum swings. So we got to find a way to create a turnover. We had a few opportunities in the first half. I wouldn't say like we missed an opportunity, but again, plays could have been made, and then we. A few ugly interceptions, and then.
And again, it's almost a combination of all three. But I go back to Zach Calero scrambling in the end zone and running from one end to the other to throw an incomplete pass. I mean, I think JG might have gotten a hand on his ankle, but if you get there, that's a game changer. That's 2 points. You get the ball back, right? And there were a couple times where, and let's give Zach Caleros a lot of credit because he was able to extend plays on his feet. And again, the offensive line deserves credit on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers side too. But Zach Caleros was able to extend plays and really, I thought, was the difference for his team in this one.
Yeah, in the first half, when Hamilton's defense was really flying, he was able to extend those plays, create some time, and then find receivers downfield. So hats off to him. He played tremendous. In the second half, they didn't have to really do as much. They were starting to find some success on the ground, and they stuck with it as they should. So he did find a few receivers down the middle and on the sideline when he needed to, and he played a great game. He was solid.
Of course, you can reach us by Ask Andy Anything. You can hit us up on Twitter at Ticats. Have your say, and Andy will answer your questions here. Our performer of the game, I think you and I are on the same page on this one because really we're on different pages on this one. Okay, all right. I'm glad I asked that because I have my performer of the game, and I thought for a local boy making his first start, Brady Oliveira had 126 yards on the ground on 22 carries. His longest was at 15. He also added 21 yards in the air. That's my performer of the game because I mean, he really I thought he was the difference late. I mean, he was the difference, I think. I know I just said Zach played a role in that, but he killed the clock. He got yards. He continued plays. So I'm giving Brady Oliveira my player of the game. But you're nodding you're shaking your head. You don't agree. You got someone else you want to say here.
Well, first of all, I hats off to him. He local boy from Winnipeg, playing outstanding in his first real action, and I'm really happy for that. Really happy for that guy. So I don't know how long Harris is be out, but I wish him continued success, and he was a difference. He did lock down the game and was able to keep pounding and breaking down that defense, and so he played well. I'm gonna go with Zach though. I think that if he didn't make those plays in the first half, this game could have been ugly early, and if the defense could get him off the field, then I think that would have given the offense some more momentum, and who knows how the game would have went if he wasn't making all those plays in the first half. So I'm going to give it to Zach.
Yeah, it kind of flew under the radar statistically in the first half, but really, like you said, it was those plays where he extended it. All right, not a lot of great to take from this game. Coach mentioned that, Daly mentioned that, but are there some positives on this Ticats team based on what we've seen tonight that you can build on that, okay, film room, here's something we did well. What are you looking at to take away from this game?
Yeah, I thought there was some positive. I thought the defensive secondary played pretty good overall. They had tight coverage in all the throws in the first half, and other than a few times when Zach was able to break out and extend the play, it's hard to tell somebody to cover a professional receiver for 6-7 seconds. So they found a little bit of success on those broken plays, and then there was the one touchdown. Our man got beat, or the Ticats got beat, and other than that, there might have been 2 throws in the second half, open receivers. But I thought the secondary played pretty well, and they were rallying up to the ball, making tackles up until that point, and once that running game really got going. So I think that's something to build on. Hopefully Stribling's okay, and Brooks gets back, and we can have.
Yeah. No, again, you look across the back there, and Ciante Evans, Frankie Williams, Mike Daly, we're missing Tunde Adeleke still out. Hopefully he's back sooner rather than later. But again, yeah, I thought that secondary, considering all that had happened, the Rico Murray, Delvin Breaux, Carriel Brooks, because they were dealing with so much and before Stribling went down, I think that's a great point. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna take a positive here as well. I thought Jalen Acklin, as kind of the new number 1 target. I think Speedy was a little bit off. He might be the first to admit. I don't think Brandon Banks had his best game. But Jalen Acklin, I thought, was fantastic. He was getting open, like you said, on that route. He was making catches and just really putting his body on the line. Not the biggest guy in the world, I mean, we can say that about any Ticats receiver right now. But I thought he was really good, and I think he's one of those guys. Luke mentioned it in the broadcast as well. The guy's got some swagger, and apparently, Luke said that he reminds him a little of you out there. Do you see any comparisons between Jalen Acklin and yourself there?
Yeah, I could see a little bit, and some of the technicalities of the way he plays and the way he runs routes, and then I think that comment about the swag, I can get excited myself out on the field. So I'm excited to see him continue to grow, and I'm going to keep my eyes out for him for sure. He certainly had that touchdown and then another big catch on the sideline. So I was proud to see him perform today.
You got another positive from this Ticats team you want to hit?
Yeah, so I think the special teams overall needs some work for sure, but I thought the coverage was excellent. So both the kickoff coverage and the punt coverage. The guys were flying downfield, weren't leaving any lanes open, and the tackling was good. We had maybe 1 or 2 no yards penalties that we got to clean up, but overall for a first game without any live action, that was something to build on.
Yeah, and I thought Nikola Kalinic, who I had mentioned as a player to watch, I thought we were going to see him a little bit more on offense, especially considering the fact that Jeremiah Masoli was really buying for time. He was out there laying out bodies on special teams. There was one I think knocked off the helmet of somebody. So I think he's somebody I think you're going to want to try get involved a little bit more, just because he is so physical. He does have good hands. So I was surprised we didn't see him a little bit more on the offense, but I hope, especially since he started at fullback, I hope we do see him a little bit more. If you've got a question for Andy Fantuz, you got a chance to ask Andy anything. Use Twitter at Ticats. Get your question in, include a hashtag AAA. We'll try to get to your answers here on Tiger Cats post-game, streaming live and only at ticats.ca and the Ticats All Access app. There was a nice one here from Jeanette. She wants to know, what's your favorite part of being a girl dad?
Oh, I think seeing when my daughter just says like, "I love you, Daddy," or when I get home, "Daddy, you're home," or just running up to your arms and yeah, I'm just a suck.
You're a big softy, eh?
I'm done. Yeah.
I was about to say you got the pregame good luck message while you were here too, so I know that that helped a little bit in your performance, your broadcast here tonight. But no, it's it's a great question, Jeanette. Thanks for asking. You can ask Andy anything. Just use the hashtag AAA. Hit us up at Ticats. Ticats logging some serious miles before they get home to open the season, of course, on Labor Day. And imagine that, the Labor Day Classic, also the home opener. What a way to welcome everybody back to Tim Hortons Field this season. For tickets, head on over to ticats.ca. It's hard, especially after a game like this, it's hard to think of that Labor Day Classic because you still got 2 more games in between then. But we've been staring here at a beautiful Tim Hortons Field, just wishing that there could be some people. And how much of a factor do you think that played into this game here tonight? The crowd, because you can pump in fake crowd noise, but to play in front of 28,000 people for the first time in a year and a half, like, just how much of a factor was that?
Oh, I'm sure that crowd was getting pretty loud when the offense was stalling, and it does take a toll. It's hard to communicate on offense, and it gets the defense excited. So home advantage is a real thing, and I'm excited to see what it's like here at Tim Hortons Field on Labor Day. I think the team will be, it might be a blessing a bit that we have a couple games so we can clean up and get ready for a divisional game against Toronto. Yeah,
well said. Again, I'm just going to go back. We're hoping the best for Dylan Wynn. We're hoping to get an update. We probably won't get it here on Tiger Cats postgame, but huge loss, and you could really see the impact right away because Dylan Wynn went down in the third quarter, and when did Brady Olivier have all those yards? Third quarter. When did those holes start to open up? Third quarter. And again, when you're already down Malden, you're bringing in guys like Schnitzler and Bennett, draft picks, 2020, 2021 draft picks. We mentioned it in the pregame. 10 2020, 2021 draft picks were in the lineup. I don't think they were expecting to use those guys this early on in the season, even in this game.
Yeah, you don't always hear a lot from the interior defensive linemen. They're not the ones getting the sacks all the time, getting interceptions and making the plays that get their name on TV, but they're so important for the run stop. They're in the passing stop, but Dylan Wynn is like the ultimate hole plugger, and I know that sounds weird, and probably should rephrase it differently. But regardless, he's gonna be in his gap every time. He knows exactly what his job is, and the guys behind him can count on him. So if he's doing his job, the next guy it just goes down the line. Everybody's got a role to fill, and when all those gaps are filled, you don't have those gaping holes. You're not getting 5-7 yards before anyone's even touching you. So it's a totally different ball game. These young guys are gonna improve, and they're gonna get better. And like I mentioned, I think earlier, like getting that experience under your belt early in the season can be a good thing overall. But like you said, we just pray that Dylan Wynn will make a swifty and full recovery.
Yeah, and hopefully, you think that hey, third quarter, you wanted him out there, but more precautionary than anything. You got time to rest. Your next game's not until Saturday. How big of a difference are a couple of days when it comes to recovery, when it comes to preparation? Because you figure Thursday, you play Thursday, you don't play again until next Saturday. What difference does that make to a guy?
Well, in this situation, you may want just a 1 week turnaround. You don't want to play right again and just forget it, but at the same time, you've just had a 3-4 week long camp without any game action, and now you have to have a couple extra days on top of your 3-day practice week. So you may want a quicker turnaround, but when it gets later in the season, you cherish these weeks. I tell you, the bye weeks and then the long weeks, they're great. You get a day off and get to recover a bit longer, and because once practice hits day one, you're going full go, and if you're not fully healthy, it's hard to get back to that point, and you always seem to be an uphill battle all season long.
Were you a ice tub guy?
Oh, big ice tub guy.
Really, eh?
Oh, every day.
Every day. Because I've talked to guys in the locker room, and some guys hate them, and some guys live by them. So what did you love about the ice bath? Was it just the ice tub? What was it that helped you recover?
Well, I was the guy who was in the hotels and the away games. I'm taking the recycle bin 5, 6, 7 trips to ice machine just to fill up the tub. So I was definitely a serious ice tub guy. For me, it was you just feel rejuvenated, and you feel great. Like, you go in there sore as can be, legs full of lactic acid. You come out feeling fresh and ready for anything. I got into a little more contrast bathing as well, and I love doing hot to cold and finishing on cold in the morning, so you're fresh and ready to go, nervous system's awake, and then if it was in the evening, finish on hot so you can relax. Sorry, I can go on a rant about
well, especially here
tubs.
at this facilities. I mean, you talk about like, oh yeah, we mentioned the guys are getting on a plane tonight. They're going to get home at 3, 4 a.m. But a lot of these guys are going to take advantage of being at the facility here tomorrow, kind of first thing, as early as they can get here, to make sure that they have these recovery aspects. And Claire and her training staff are going to do a great job in making sure everybody's as healthy as possible. And again, it goes back to the facilities here at Tim Hortons Field. I did want to give a shout out because he was making his CFL, basically his pro football debut. Joel Whitford. Pretty interesting punter. We were looking at each other. He's like, did he just kick it with his left foot? I thought he just kicked it with his right foot earlier. He averaged 42.2 yards per punt. Not bad for a guy who started playing football just a few years ago.
Yeah, amazing. What a multi-talented guy that can kick both feet, and I'm sure there's lots of other things that he can do that will come in later in the season. But good for him, and I was a teammate with another Aussie a few years ago, Jeff Bartel, and I'm really happy for them.
Yeah, I thought he was great, and I guess we'll give credit to again a fellow Western alum on the other side, Mark Leggio, making his CFL debut. He did not so bad himself, 41.4 yards. So we're wrapping up the show here by giving love to some punters, because you know what? When the final score is 19-6, we only have those 3 touchdowns to talk about. You might as well give some love to some rookie punters. Andy, great first game. You never would have known this is your first game in the booth.
Oh, I had a lot of fun, and I went by fast, so I'm looking forward to next time and hopefully a different result. And but yeah, it's going to be a fun season, all fun time with you all season long.
Well said. You can catch me on Ticats today, all throughout next week. The final score from Winnipeg, 19 for the Bombers, 6 for the Ticats. For Andy Fantuz, I'm Louie B. We'll be back for Tiger Cats pregame presented by Active Green and Ross on August 14th, leading into the Ticats Riders. Go Ticats. Have a great night.